Floorball Planet was started in 2008. I got introduced to floorball on a hockey trip to Sweden. My son was a goalie as a hockey player and had a summer series of tournaments in Sweden, so the whole family went over with that particular tournament trip. And when the kids weren't on the ice, they all wanted to play with what they called bandy sticks. We didn't know what those were, so we went down to the local sporting goods store in Sweden and bought a bandy stick, and the kids played floorball in the parking lot of the hotel the whole time they weren't on the ice. We got back to the United States, and I thought this would be pretty cool to, use these floorball sticks for off-ice hockey training and things like that, because the kids had such a great time. So I contacted the company whose stick it was Salming, because we were in Sweden. We bought a Salming stick. They put me in touch with their representative in Toronto, with Juha Mikkola with Floorball Pro. He put me in touch with this Finnish fellow that was just across town from here in Texas named Jukka. We met for coffee following week, and I decided this would be pretty cool. So we started a company to bring in floorball sticks, and that's how it began. 2008.
But how can you make such a leap from having fun in parking lots to actually starting a store?
Well, we started out expecting that this would be an adjunct for hockey players, because that's how we learned. It would be a great tool to do off-ice training and have fun. And so that was the approach that we took. Our other partner at the time was one of the other parents of a hockey player, so we were focusing on hockey. In fact, our initial events that we went to was the Let's Play Hockey trade shows in Las Vegas and places like that. But we learned pretty quickly that there was a much broader appeal than hockey players, schools specifically, as well as small number of clubs and things like that at that point. So we just started carrying the sticks initially with only Salming, because they supported all our efforts, and through Juha at Floorball Pro, they were able to funnel products to us. And so we just gradually grew, started an online presence, and it kind of went from there. What really prompted the growth was some larger programs. We did a branded stick for USA Hockey. The Dallas Stars approached us. They met us, believe it or not, at one of these Let's Play Hockey trade shows and started talking about it, and we didn't think anything of it. About 6 months later, they called us up and said, would you like to talk to us about using floorball for a hockey outreach program? Because they had used floor hockey in times past, but they thought floorball sounded pretty modern and pretty cool. So we went in and talked to them and talked about the capabilities of floorball sticks. And one thing led to another. We did a custom stick for them through Salming, and that was the Fitness Stars program that started. I believe that was 2014. And so things grew quickly from that point.
Is this the only floorball store in the States?
Yes, to my knowledge. There are a few suppliers that have representation from some of the European companies, but nobody else stocks things in the United States. And we purposely did that because at the time you could buy sticks in Europe, ship them over here. Of course, there's the delay in the time to do all that. And we decided early on that we needed to have product in hand so that when we sold something, we could deliver to our customer immediately. And so that's what we did. And it grew. Initially, we had a relatively small stock of sticks, and it was in my the location of my previous business. As we grew, we decided that we needed some warehouse space, so we moved to this part of town in 2017, where we had a 12,800 square foot facility, because we had a rink in the back, a rink area in the back, and that was we thought we would use it a lot. Turns out in Texas, that's a little bit hard to do in the summertime. It's pretty hot in the back of a warehouse. So we downsized to this location when our lease expired, and we had a new lease 2 years ago. So now we have 8,500 square feet, warehouse space, office space, as well as fulfillment areas.
A newcomer to floorball in the States, why should they contact you and not look for sticks online?
because they can talk to us about what fits their needs. We also sell on Amazon. We do a lot of sticks through Amazon. It's very frustrating for us because customers sometimes need to be educated. What is an appropriate size floorball stick? What is a proper left and right? Amazon, even though we put everything there in print, customers don't always read that. I get many returns from Amazon where customers complain that, oh, it's not the right size. They're a hockey player and they think a stick should go up to their nose. Well, a floorball stick is different, and so it shouldn't go that way. So when you deal with us online, we're able to talk to our customers directly. If there's a question, we can tell a lot of times by who the customer is, and we can query them about certain aspects of what they're looking for, specifically with a school or something like that. So for example, if I see an order for adult-size high school sticks going to an elementary school, I'll normally call the customer going, okay, are you sure, is this for elementary school kids or is this for adults in high school? Because it really pains me to see a 7-year-old using an adult-sized floorball stick. They'll have fun with it, but they're just not as effective as they would otherwise be if they had a properly sized stick. So there's no difference to us what size stick it is, but we want to have the best product in the hands for the customer because we want them to become floorball players and grow the sport.
Now, beyond the store itself, you're seen at a lot of tournaments. How many tournaments have you been at and where?
Oh, we go to tournaments pretty much all over the country. We always try to go to the national tournaments. Obviously, when we have them in Texas, it's easy because it's just across town or, a few hours drive. Chicago is not too bad. California is a little tough. We'll attend a California tournament, but we probably won't bring sticks to sell there because it's just too far to drive. Because when we have to set up at a tournament to sell things in person, we have to rent a truck or a van or something to bring the product. Well, to go to San Jose, California, it's a 26-hour drive, which means 2 days over, 2 days back, as well as the time at the tournament. Chicago, Michigan, we can do that in a day. California's a little bit tough. The other part is when we go to a tournament to sell products, we try to guess what we think will be a good selection of products because we can't bring everything. We've got hundreds and hundreds of stick models, and so we try to bring a good cross-section of the different brands, the different sizes, beginner sticks for kids, mid-level and high-level sticks, especially in the high-level sticks because, when you go to a tournament, you're getting players that are looking for the next best thing, whatever's right for them. So we try to bring enough selection so that people can choose what is appropriate for them. It's so much better to buy a stick in person because you can try out the different blades, the different shafts, you get the different feel from it, even things down to the blade material and the other specifications in the shaft that make a stick different. Unless you know what you're looking for, it's much harder to buy online. So that's why we like to do things in person. So that's very, very helpful. Of course, the other part of all of that is we always support all of the floorball activities. So that means sometimes bringing boards, quite often transporting the floor, the Jure floor that the USA Floorball has, nets and everything else. So more and more locations have their own boards now and nets, so we don't have to transport them quite as often, but that's still available. And we have our own sets of boards here that we donate and utilize for tournaments. And we also, now we have them as a product line, so we sell those to different programs. So we have both IFF certified and non-certified boards for the different needs that are out there.
What are some of the longest drives you've done?
Oh, longest drives. Probably the longest, I've done several drives to the Northeast. Those weren't so much for tournaments. They were to run coaching clinics for Special Olympics. So I've made several trips to Pennsylvania, New York, Massachusetts with product as well as, things to train people. So that would be a pretty long trip. The longest one for a tournament would have been U.S. Nationals in 2019 in Lynchburg, Virginia. Lynchburg, Virginia was actually, we had no local organization running that tournament. It was done in conjunction with the State Games of America. And so that was kind of a novel concept for all of us here in USA Floorball. So the NTFA organization here in Texas actually ran that tournament from Lynchburg. So that means I got to drive the truck with 2 sets of boards and goals and everything from here to Lynchburg, Virginia and back to do all of the tournament setup for that. And that was probably one of our most successful tournaments that we've had in this country. And it was right before, it was in the year before COVID, so things were going really, really well then. And then COVID kind of brought everything to a screeching halt for a while.
Are you back from COVID?
Yes. COVID hurt us directly, primarily because 2019 was such a positive year. Everything was happening, growing with clubs and interest in the sport. We did a lot of purchasing because we have to purchase 6 to 9 months in advance of what we think we're going to need. So we had a lot of production in line that we took delivery in late fall of 2019, early 2020. And then all of a sudden, in February of 2020, everything stopped. And so we had all this inventory, and it's like, okay, how do we survive this time? And so we focused a lot on floorball at home, things like that. And it was painful, but we got through it, and now things are on the upswing once again.
What fun memories do you have from tournaments or your activities in general?
Well, what's really fun about the tournaments for me, at my age I don't play anymore, but I really like being around it. My son has continued to play. He's a goalie for NTFA, so he plays at a high level. So watching him play at all our national tournaments is always exciting. I mean, I grew up watching it. He grew up as a hockey goalie, and so it was all those trips playing Tier 1 hockey for many, many years as well as college. Now it's floorball, and that was fun. But it also gave me the opportunity when World Games rolled around in Birmingham 2022. We were involved with helping support the games, and I was fortunate to be able to work the secretariat table for the entire week at World Games. So now I'm at courtside doing the secretariat for top teams in the world, because now Sweden, Finland, Czech Republic, Latvia, I mean, getting to be courtside as part of all that is awesome. So instead of watching on video, now we're watching it courtside. So it gives you a whole appreciation for the level of the sport, how far we have to go in the United States to be competitive. And so that's our focus, is to try and grow it. The other part was being involved with NAFL, because that brought the high level floorball again very closely. Ryan Connor, the commissioner of the NFL, when he first started the idea, he asked me if I would be willing to be one of the sponsors, and I said, sure, absolutely. It sounded like a great concept. And so that's been very rewarding also, to be involved with that and meeting players and coaches that come in. The other things that we've done over the years, even before that, we would bring in coaches on ourselves to help run coaching clinics, player development camps, goalie clinics and things like that. So we got some pretty good relationships early on with some coaches from Europe. That was always gratifying. Just even down to this last week, being part of the women's qualifier. The U.S. beat Canada this week. It was an awesome tournament, great games, great skill level, great competition. It's everything that you want to see in floorball. So that being a part of that and being close to it is always exciting.
What potential do you see for floorball in the States?
Oh, the potential is huge. What's frustrating about it, what's difficult for a lot of Europeans to understand about the market for floorball in the United States, we are so large, we have a huge country, a huge population, but there are huge alternatives for sport. You know, between football, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, hockey, everything else. Getting more and more floorball players, as great as the sport is, it's getting hard to get people involved because of the alternatives that they have. So it's not because floorball is difficult, it's because they have a lot of other choices. So you've got to get them to try it. Once they try it, they love it, and it goes well from there. But getting that first step, that's the hard part. So that being said, we haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's so much potential here. The frustrating part is to be patient. I mean, I've been at this since 2008. I've been involved with NTFA since 2014, now involved with USA Floorball. We have to be patient in that what we're doing is working, it's growing, but we can't get discouraged because that's the frustrating part. I've seen companies, floorball companies, come and go over the years because they kind of come in, they see the potential, and the potential is there, but it doesn't come immediately, it doesn't come quickly. So we're here for the long term, and we understand what works and what doesn't work and where our potential is, and that's what we try to focus on.
But what can be done to speed this up?
That's a good question. I think one of the things that's happening, and I'm very excited about the new changes at USA Floorball, is we're getting more and more people involved to spread the word. So, for example, we've been involved with Special Olympics. Special Olympics Floorball is growing hugely in the United States. We have many more athletes in Special Olympics playing floorball than we do have outside of Special Olympics. And so my partner Yuka and I have been working with Special Olympics since 2017, doing coaching clinics and helping programs get started from Texas to Southern California to Arizona, New York, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Connecticut. Latest one is Georgia. I'm expecting Illinois. So these are all large programs where you might have 1,000 athletes playing floorball during their floorball season. Well, what we're doing now in USA Floorball is spreading the word about that. I'm trying to get more floorball people that are spread across the country to be able to help doing things like clinics and things like that, because all of the Special Olympics programs need, once they start, is to understand what's the sport. Some are coming from floor hockey, some are coming from no team sport as a stick sport. So they need some basics as far as, hey, how to hold the stick, how to basic pass and catch passes. What are the game rules and considerations and stuff? Because for Special Olympics, floorball is a fantastic sport because it's one of the few team sports where everybody participates and gets a lot out of it. And so it's exciting, it's fun to watch. We have 2 teams from the U.S. Competing as we speak in the World Winter Games in Turin, Italy right now. And so we're trying to grow that side of it. So that's a huge potential. The other thing is we're right back also to talking about development. And development in the U.S. means schools, colleges, community centers, local clubs, all these different areas where floorball is a fantastic addition. And so it's just a question of meeting that pent-up demand, making people aware of what's available. The hardest thing always is finding an appropriate venue to play, but we help people that are on the ground to figure out what works, what doesn't work, what's the best way to approach a facility, and how to spread the word and get people going. Equipment, that's easy. The hard part is finding the place to play and getting people organized to do it.
Now, if someone's kind of curious about floorball, why should they start playing floorball?
Oh, because it's so easy. A stick and a ball, 5 minutes to learn the rules, and you just go for it. What's very interesting about it is that you can learn quite quickly and you become effective quite quickly, even at a competitive level. So I'll use an example here locally in the North Texas Floorball Association with our weekly leagues. We have top players in the country that play in our league along with beginners that are just starting out, and they play on the same team. So those beginning players learn pretty quickly what makes effective floorball, because ultimately, to be good at floorball, you have to be good at the fundamentals. Basically, passing, shooting, controlling the ball. Those are the hard things to do. It's easy to go out there and just hit the ball. Everybody can do that, but to do it well and to control it at speed, because as you get good, the speed goes up. And the dynamics of the game are ever changing. So for most people to start out, they'll start out at a pickup session, for example. They'll just show up on a Wednesday night at a community center that's got floorball. Usually there's sticks available. You just show up and here's a stick and a ball and just go out and have fun. People decide, hey, this is pretty good. They'll buy their own stick because they'll get something that's appropriate for them. And a beginner stick, $35, $40. It's not a big investment. T-shirt, short, and sneakers, that's all you need. And so people will go from a weekly pickup game. If there's a local league in their area, then they can start playing seriously. There's a social aspect of it, the whole cardio fitness aspect of it, but the competitive fun, you know. We like to talk about floorball for hockey players is that once they get past their competitive hockey days, you know, whether it's youth hockey, whether it's college hockey or whatever, well then adult hockey is a whole different animal for beer leagues and things like that. Well, you can satisfy those competitive urges with floorball stick without the smelly bags and the skates and all of that stuff to play hockey. You can play it in floorball and get every bit as much enjoyment out of it without the huge cost.
And what if you're alone, you got a stick, you're playing, you're enjoying it, and you want to start a club?
The way to start a club basically is, it always helps to find a few like-minded individuals that want to start with you. Find a local place to play. Typically, you'll get shoehorned in for an hour on a Wednesday night, for example, in your local community center, YMCA. Occasionally a church is a good location because many churches have gyms and sports facilities like that. Sometimes you can make arrangements with a school, but just basically need some court time. Some sticks, some balls, a couple of little nets, and then you just spread the word. You can use social media to spread the word, you can use flyers, you can use local advertising, whatever it needs, some type of meetup group, and just start. That's really all it takes. My partner Yuka, when he first started working the Flower Mound Community Activity Center, which has been going for 12 years now at least, he started that himself, and he showed up every week. Sometimes he would have 3 players, sometimes he would have 25 players, but every week he would be there. And now the Flower Mound group is still going strong with high-level players after 12 years, still going at the same place.
And then we also actually have national teams for floorball, which might be one of the more accessible national teams.
That's exactly correct. In fact, that's one of the things that the U19 program talks specifically when they're talking to parents and players, because, and I'll use hockey again as an example, because there are a lot of hockey players that play in competitive hockey, and they're looking to advance to the next opportunity. College hockey, junior hockey, NHL potentially, or something like that. But the opportunity to represent your country in international competition in hockey, it's a very, very small number of players that get to do that. Well, in floorball, we don't have that many players, and we've got 3 national teams that compete, men's team, women's team, under 19 men. We used to have under 19 women. Right now we don't have the players for it, but you can learn relatively quickly to be a competitive floorball player. And guess what? You could be wearing the stars and stripes and representing the country at the next World Championships. We have qualifications against Canada regularly, because at the international competitions, World Championships, they can only take 1 team from North America. So we have to qualify every year. And so it's been a competitive battle, but it's also very gratifying. You get the opportunity to go compete on the world stage, and it's very doable.
All in all, it sounds like the future is bright for floorball in the States.
I like to think so. I've been here for a while, and hopefully it'll be brighter and brighter as we move along.